Your desktop audio is still on, by the way.
Welcome everybody to Poke Battle Network. I am SosaFlo and this is the Indigo PvP. Whoops, this is the Indigo PvP. There it is. Today we have the ICarly factions versus the Underground PvP battling it out. These two teams were NA top faction battlers and they actually got knocked out in the first week of King of the Hill. So I said, hey guys, y'all want to battle still? And they said, absolutely. So we are so excited to have this up and running. I am SosaFlo, the hostess with the mostest, and I am accompanied by three amazing casters here. To my left is the world-class finalist, the man all the way straight from Palatown PvP, and that is FishOnAHeater. How you doing today, Fish?
I'm great, although I was promised to be the one with the most. I don't know why.
Whoa.
I don't know when you took the title.
Hold on, let me check my database. It said, you said secondary most. Secondary most, I thought.
No, yeah. I would not have taken this job if I was just relegated to second. Let's be honest.
All right. Well, bye, Fish. Thanks for playing. No.
It's been real.
It's great. It is great to have you back here on Indigo PvP. You've been a part of it from the beginning. You've seen it. I'm so happy that you're able to join us tonight. And then you've got your best friend who's in your ear, messing with your mind with those lovely rhymes, all the way chatting it around the table, Shadow Prime. How you doing tonight, Shadow Prime?
I'm doing fantastic, and unlike Fish, I'm very content with mine. The host with the summest, I guess.
Not
the most, the sum.
So
I'm doing good.
Excellent. It's great to have you on tonight. Welcome, welcome. And finally, Miss HurricaneKaz, the captain of the Queen Bees, a fierce force to be reckoned with. How you doing tonight, Miss Kaz?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. So excited to watch these amazing battles take place with all of you. I will also say that I'm okay with taking on the title of hostess with most. Just to put that in the database.
So let me get this straight. Welcome everybody. We're the hostess with the mostest and one guy who's a somewhat of a most of a battler PvP tonight, which means we have two teams that are battling it out. If you are not familiar with the Indigo PvP format, what happens is these two teams submit 5 banned Pokemon, and in that 10 banned Pokemon sphere, each team will draft within themselves a team of 6 and no similar Pokemon on 2 teams. So, for instance, Battler A and Battler B cannot each have a Swampert. So it makes it very interesting, the reach and the climb and the Pokemon that get showcased here. Battlers shine and show us their true battling skill, and my opinion, when it comes down to these drafts. So I'm really excited to be here and get into it, and we're going to get into the bands here. As looking at the bands, you've got the Underground and iCarly. Let's just talk to the analyst, the hostess with the mosts. And the some mosts. I'm sorry, everybody. What do you all see here in this band situation? I'm sorry. It's a rough day for me.
All right, so I'm seeing the Redisteel stands out to me first and foremost, not only because it's just got a bigger sprite than all the others, but also because it is like one of the biggest beneficiaries of the current way the meta is shaping out since the June update. It is a steel type that can really hit back against a lot of the fighters that you'll see around. And when I say a lot of the fighters, there's one. And that's Metacham. If it's not running any fighting charge moves, then that Redisteel can absolutely hit back against it, flip things back in its favor, depending on the right situations. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all to see Redisteel as the first Pokemon banned.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, Fish. That's definitely a good call. And then also, especially with our most recent Play Pokemon event, how it was like 100% of the teams, or 102 had Metacham on there. That's 102 too many. So it's really nice to see Metacham taking a seat for a little bit. Then out of all these bands, I'm noticing that the Pokemon that can learn Boom Burst have a chance to shine. So justice for Boom Burst. So
new hashtag. Yeah, it's also interesting. I mean, Registeel obviously banned by both teams, but so was Alolan Ninetales, which with the most recent update, we had some other ices come to compete with that Alolan Ninetales. So it's interesting that both teams would no, keep the Charmer out of here. But since only Cham, it might give it might have been an excuse to get a Charmer out.
I can understand getting a Charmer out, but have you noticed the rise of fairies that have popped up? You've got Cleffables and Wigglytuff, Whimsicots are out there. The fairy is no longer just in the Ninetales corner. So when I see this, I kind of get disappointed because meta bans are just so kind of, no offense to the teams, they're great. You should be banning meta Pokemon, of course, if the opportunity comes. But it's just so tacky. If everybody knows that they're going to play with that Pokemon, only one battler gets that meta Pokemon. So I don't really feel like going after the Registeels and the G-Fisk and the Bastiodon is the absolute correct way to go. Hit a flyer, for goodness sakes. Ban some of those generalists that just hurt, like a Lickitung or a Sableye. I just felt like it just feels like they just tried to play safe both teams. And unfortunately, with those duplicates, you really only have now 7 banned Pokemon.
Yeah.
In Azumarill? Really?
Yeah.
What are we?
Azumarill, listen, if you don't know what else to ban, Azumarill is always just a safe pick.
But you're banning all these tanks. Why are you caring about this water Pokemon? Clearly, no one, flyer is coming. Anyways.
Get has to be a Zoom roll. So we can move on. It's okay.
It's okay. Zoom rolls out. Sorry, I'm just having season 1 flashbacks. Season 1 flashbacks. We're fine. We're fine. These are great banned Pokemon altogether. It's just, for me personally, I love it when people can reach and ban within. But we have an amazing matchup now between iCarly and the Butter Dogs from the Underground Down Under group here. We're so excited to have these two battlers. We're going to get into the first matchup on the field with HurricaneKaz and FishOnAHeater. And then after that battle is done, we'll come back to myself and Shadow Prime at the analyst desk. So let's go all the way down to the field and get into this first matchup.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. We already have, we only had for a brief minute our our video there, but just a little hint, a little taste. And we do see over on Driftwoman's side, we see both of those newly buffed ice types, Dugong Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash, as well as Deoxys, the also buffed Clefable with a Shadow Dragonair and Amanda Buzz. What do you see over on Drumslinger's side?
So we see the Cresselia, the Lantern, the Dugong as well. So both trainers running the Dugong. A Jump Plus, which is Grass type, which I feel like is a little bit underrated. Toxicroak, which is one of my favorite counter uses. Not because of how good it is, just because of how cool it is. And a regular Drench.
Exactly. I mean, the Toxicroak is very cool, but it also has a lot of versatility as a fighter, which is what I really love about it as well. Also, I love that we have the shiny sprite. Just extra cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am excited to see what we see first. And we do see these two new buffed ice types, Dugong versus that Shadow Alolan Sandslash on the field.
Yeah, this is advantage to the Alolan Sandslash. Both ice types running Drill Run as their ground type charge move, but the Alolan Sandslash is getting there quicker, and the Shadow Claws are neutral against the Dugong, while the ice shards are double resisted by the Sandslash. So this is definitely advantage towards the Sandslash. We see a Drill Run and then a quick switch out into the Clefable.
Oh my gosh, and that Dugong gets a lot of extra energy before swapping out to Cresselia, which is going to take a Moonblast from the Clefable.
Clefable having recently gotten that new fast attack of Fairy Wind, so it is getting to those Moonblasts very, very quickly. Before the update, you would never see a Moonblast on a Clefable. It was always Psychic and Meteor Mash.
If you did, then you might have aged a few years in the meantime.
So now we are trading Moonblasts, the Fairy type versus the Pseudo Fairy. This Moonblast will go through on the Cresselia. Now it is in the yellow. It has taken a few more Fairy Winds of damage, but it doesn't get the KO. So the Cresselia just manages to survive, and they both get to that charge move at almost the same time, but the Clefable gets through first and throws that Meteor Mash to get the KO.
Yeah, the Clefable had to throw energy there before the Cresselia would throw another move to knock it out, wanting to keep that maintain some of that switch advantage. And we do see the Dugong come back in from Drum Sonar with all of that energy and throwing this first Icy Wind very quickly to knock the Clefable back out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because we saw the Ice Shard is a bit of a clunky move to use. So the Clefable, even though it was in the red, wasn't really in any kind of farm down range. It was likely to get to another move before it could be farmed down. So having to throw a move, now throwing a Drill Run onto the Deoxys before switching straight out to the Lantern. Now it is up to Alolan Sandslash to throw these Drill Runs, test out its new toy.
Oh my gosh. And we do see the first shield actually coming up just now in the match against that Lantern, for the Lantern actually against that first Drill Run from the Alolan Sandslash, and getting to throw a Surf now, which the Alolan Sandslash doesn't love, but also doesn't quite hate as much as you might think.
Yeah, so opting to keep the shield. So, I mean, that's a really big advantage to Driftblimmin heading into the late game. Now finally using that first shield and building up a bit of extra energy before throwing one of those Drill Runs. Once again, Lantern is like, no, I don't want this. I don't like this. I need an adult. It's using the second shield and gets to the Surf. Now the second shield will come up for Driftblimmin, but who will get to that next move to KO first?
Oh, but the Shadow Claw from the Sandslash charges so fast, and we see a catch on the dugong from drum sonar. So all of that energy that sand slash so desperately needed is going to land on the wrong Pokemon.
So now Lantern comes back out and it's now on cleanup duty. Deoxys is a bulky Pokemon though, so there's a really good chance it will be able to dish out enough damage to KO this Lantern before the Lantern can do its thing back. So it is on. The race is on. We see 2 Psycho Boosts built up to. Now the first one is being used. 2 should be enough, Kaz, I would think.
Oh, not quite enough to knock out the Lantern, but does have to throw the second Psycho Boost that it had charged up, which will actually KO the Lantern.
Yeah. So that is point Drift Blimmin. Well done to the Underground. A wonderful use of the Sand Slash. Unfortunately, not quite able to get the job done because of that brilliant catch on the Dugong from Drum Sonar.
Yeah, very fortunate that Drift Blimmin did have that very chunky Deoxys in the back to kind of absorb a few of those moves from the Lantern in that end game, while being able to deal some super effective damage with its Psycho Boost. So in our second matchup, we see Drum Sonar leading with the Dugong again, and Drift Blimmin now coming in with the Deoxys. This is a much more straightforward matchup.
Yeah, that Deoxys is looking really safe into Drum Sonar's team. Really, the biggest counter it has to deal with is the Cresselia, which is now, being used as a safe swap. And so Drift Blimmin can come in with the Alolan Sandslash now, which is really liking this matchup. It's resisting all of the moves that Cresselia can have. We've already seen the Moonblast from it. We don't know, well, Drift Blimmin doesn't know what that second move is yet, but you would not throw the Grass Knot here. It is just straight to the Moonblast once again.
Yeah, the Moonblast, I think, both of these charged attacks are, not effective against the Sandslash, and they don't get any stab bonus from Cresselia either. So it really has nothing to pressure any shields from the Alolan Sandslash, and does end up just going out so that the Dugong can come in from Drum Sonar. But that Sandslash has so much energy already.
Yeah, it builds that energy very, very quickly. It gets to those Drew runs in 6, 6, and 5 Shadow Claws. Now the Clefable comes out and is going to take on this Dugong. Now, how much does a Moonblast do here? No, okay, so it doesn't get to the Moonblast. It gets Drew Run first. Now, not shielding because Clefable has a pretty high defense stat, so the Drew Run's only going to take it just into the yellow. Now we finally get that Moonblast coming out. How much is this going to do back to the Dugong?
Well, we're not going to find out because Drum Sonar immediately does put up the shield in order to stop that Moonblast, because I do think it might be very close to taking out the Dugong. So they need a little more time, and they're going to throw the Icy Wind in order to get a little debuff on this Clefable on their way out.
So Lantern comes back in and is going to try and get a Spark down. Unable to do so. That was a very aggressive switch in, but didn't quite pay off. The Moonblast is going to do all sorts of damage to the Lantern. Lantern can tank it, but this is looking pretty dire for Drum Sonar. That Deoxys is in the back, and the hardest counter to the Deoxys is now gone from Drum Sonar's team. So Lantern and half of a Dugong have to do a heck of a lot of work.
Yeah, this Dugong really, the Lantern really has its job cut out for it, as it's going to start throwing just straight Thunderbolt, going for the highest damage move that it can, to start getting some shields out of the way, since Drift Blimmin actually still had 2 shields in play.
The Lantern is throwing a Surf because I think Drum Sonar understands that, that charge move is coming. I'm not going to get to a Thunderbolt. And sure enough, it does come. The Rock Slide. I believe this will be the first Rock Slide thrown on the Deoxys. So now revealing that second move, showing that it isn't Thunderbolt. The shield does come up on Lantern's side. That is no shields left. And another amazing catch.
Another great catch on the Dugong. Dugong's like, what, you need a damage sponge? Here, I got you. And
yeah, Drum Sonar making a couple of amazing catches at the moment, but it does open the door for Drift Blimmin to come in and get a sweet, sweet farm down on the Sandslash. Now, choosing to use that second shield on the Sandslash. Now, Drift Blimmin knows that the Sandslash can get off a move before another move comes out on the Lantern. So now taking out that Lantern with a Drew Run, and that will end the game.
Oh, exactly. I mean, those catches from Drum Sonar were really great, like a very strong knowledge of timing there on their part. but Drift Lemon just had the Pokemon, I think,
Mhm.
to put the exact counters against Drum Sonar where they needed to be. So secures an early 2 points for the Underground.
Yeah, we do still play out all three of
Mhm.
these battles though, because every point can count. Because a
Exactly.
2-1 is a lot nicer than a 3-0, for example. So a chance to earn back some points from Drum Sonar, but Drum Sonar does need to worry about
Oh,
that. Deoxys,
we
the Toxicroak into the Alolan Sandslash is a fantastic lead, and that we see a switch straight out into the Clefable.
That Drum Sonar was like, fine, you know what? I have something that will counter your fairies and your Sandslash.
Right, yeah, that is a great core breaker. Excellent point. The Clefable is going to do as much damage as it can to the Lantern. Lantern, a very, very neutral pick. It really only worries about the Dragonair on Driftlemon's side, and we see that there is no Dragonair in sight. So that Lantern looking very, very safe. Can it make sure that Drum Sonar maintains alignment? Obviously, it really loved that alignment at the start of the battle. Would really help to have it still in alignment as the battle goes on.
Yeah, and Lantern does try and force some shields from this Clefable, but Clefable is also tanky enough that it doesn't quite need to, and gets to the Moonblast despite taking quite a few surfs from that Lantern in the meantime, forcing Drum Sonar to use their first shield to protect that alignment that you mentioned.
Yeah, and I think this is really setting up Drum Sonar for the win. I feel like Drum Sonar sees their win condition here. It's now going to be Toxicroak back into the Alolan Sandslash, and I see that the other matchup in the back is the Deoxys versus the Cresselia, which, as we mentioned before, is the one thing that the Deoxys fears. So this is looking very, very good for Drum Sonar.
Exactly. They knew from the very moment that they saw those first Pokemon what their win condition does, and they are doing everything in their power, but they do catch the drill run on the Toxicroak and use their last shield. Oh my god.
So this is interesting. This is a crazy turn of events. The Drum Sonar has now switched in the Toxicroak, trying to get a cheeky snipe, I think, might have been the play on the Alolan Sandslash, because obviously it will only take a couple of counters to get rid of it, but it had to shield a Drill Run, and now they've given up alignment, and this Psycho Cut is going to destroy the Toxicroak. Oh no, poor Toxie.
Off the field. And now Cresselia is in place, and Cresselia is a tanky Pokemon. It is basically resisting all of these moves from the Deoxys, but with no shield, can it simply outlast the spam from Deoxys?
Yeah, so it's got a... Wow, that was so little damage, Kaz. The Cresselia now has two jobs. It's got to first take out this Deoxys and then have enough energy left over to be able to outlast the Alolan Sandslash. We did say that all moves from Cresselia are resisted, but that Alolan Sandslash doesn't have much HP left. Maybe a Moonblast will be enough. It does still have a shield as well.
It's going to need two, because Drifblim had a shield left in play, so it will need to land 2 Moonblasts before the Alolan Sandslash can get to its move. But that Shadow Claw makes the Alolan Sandslash so incredibly spammy. It's going to land the first drill run here, and it does get Cresselia down into the red.
And beats it to the last charge move. Now, that Deoxys, I believe, was still conscious in the back. I don't think it had been KO'd yet. It was a switch out. Yeah, and the move is there.
But, oh my gosh, even against Cresselia, this is going to be just barely enough.
And that does KO the Cresselia. Out comes Lantern. It's a Spark Down versus a Psycho Boost. The Deoxys can't get the move off. And the Lantern closes out the battle for Drum Sonar.
Lantern literally just waiting, lurking in the back there like a shark to take down that Deoxys with just a few fast attacks. Oh my gosh. We couldn't have asked for a better finish for our very first battle check, could we?
Yeah. Oh, my word. Yeah. I want to hear what the analysts have to say about this. Let's just throw this back to them and let them... we're going to decompress over here while they handle it from here.
Ooh, take some deep breaths.
Spark, come on. That was incredible. That was really good down to the wire. It didn't need to come down to the wire, that game 3, but it did. It did. let's touch back again. We're going to recap everything in game 1. That Clefable was so good, winning that CMP early on and getting to throw the charge move and either forcing the shield or getting the damage down in game 1. And then I have that Dugong. The catch on with Dugong was so good game 1.
Absolutely incredible. And one of the things that I absolutely love seeing from play Pokemon to this is just like that shield management with Pokemon and trusting your Pokemon, knowing which hits they can take, and trusting their defensive stats. Oh, I don't need my shield. I can say that for the end game. So shield management was definitely huge in those battles, and it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, and game 2, I mean, what can we say? Sandslash went ham. Like, that's literally all that happened. And it didn't even proc a Night Slash. It just went off. It, like, caught the lead, just ate up that Cresselia, had tons of energy for everything else. It was so beautiful to watch it just feed Frenzy. Like, great call on Drifbloom to bring it back as a safe swap in there as well. Drum knowing that the Cresselia was probably his best bet against a lot of these Pokemon because Jumpluff doesn't want to see either of those grass Pokemon, none of this ice Pokemon, none of this Dragonair, and not for nothing, both of those ice Pokemon have ground that knocks out Toxicroak and Lantern. Like, literally, Cresselia had to play. So, great job there on Drifbloom for recognizing that for game 2. And then game 3, Drumsoner finally gets the lead. He gets the lead. And if he just had the patience, I don't know what he was thinking to throw the debuff, like get the debuff out. It was just made things way too tight at the end there.
Absolutely, and that Psycho boost just absolutely like deleted Toxicroak from the inventory. So like it just it was really great. Like those are incredible battles. So congratulations to both Drifblimmer and Drumstoner.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into our second matchup now, and that is gonna be Capitalize into Quackman. Yo, we've got some fun now. We got Capitalize rocking the Swampert, Venusaur, Frostlass, Toxapex, Scrafty, and Steelix Shadow version. And over on iCarly's side,
and Quackman is running Charizard, Buzzwole, Shadows, Alolan Sandslash, Toxapex, and a Shadow Hypno. I'm intrigued by this guy, and an Umbreon. So I'm excited for this. We got the Buzzwole coming back. Like I love that Pokemon so much. I'm really excited to see if this thing is gonna make an appearance in the battle. I absolutely love Buzzwole, and the Charizard too with those wing attacks. I'm excited.
Those are some good Pokemon that Quackman have out there. I'm just looking at that Scrafty, and Scrafty's ranked like number 3 on PV Poke. And let me tell you something, Shadow Prime. Don't ever bring Scrafty to a play Pokemon event thinking that you're like, oh, I can outdo it all. Because everybody's got Medicham, and the double counter weakness is so effective. But in this matchup here, Scrafty looks so good against the Hypno, against the Umbreon, against the Sandslash, even against that the Buzzwole there, having that power-up punch, boosting that foul play. Seems like this could be the way to go for Scrafty to show us like maybe why this might be a good number 3 on PV Poke, but I don't ever buy it. I can't buy it anymore. Like, it's so bad. It was so bad at a PV Poke Battle Network. Do you see anything else going on here, sir?
I'm just really excited. A lot of the Pokemon have good checks for each other, so I'm really excited to see what team comps we're gonna get, and let's get to these battles.
All right, before we get to the battles, I just got to put it out there, folks. I know. But it's just the Hypno Swiss Army knife question. I don't know if you're part, I don't know how many drafts you've done, Shadow Prime. The Hypno is probably one of the most valued Pokemon out there because it has so many different movesets that you really, it's almost like a moveset kind of, but it's like the Swiss Army knife. So it's beautiful to like, to help out against your team and whatnot. And looking at Capitalize's team, Fire Punch, Shadow Ball, Hypno might be the way.
Oh yeah.
What, like,
and especially with that Shadow boost too, since it is a Shadow Hypno, so that could be a pretty dangerous Pokemon depending on the moveset, like you said. So I'm excited to see how well that's going to play. But it's also got that Shadow Alolan Sandslash as well, and we saw how well that did in the last battle. So I'm excited
Oh
to see
my
what it's
god,
going to do here.
it did so well in that last battle. But we're going to transition over to our casters now, as they are going to give us Capitalize versus Quackman.
Oh my gosh, these teams. I mean, I see a lot more diversity on these teams. We do see Toxapex on both, but as they mentioned, but otherwise, these lineups are pretty incredible and bring up some Pokemon we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, this could be an absolute shootout or an absolute slugfest, depending on what teams each player brings. So
And
at the moment, it is a steel type against the poison type, and the poison type is not liking it. So out comes the Swampert, and one thing that I would love to have seen mentioned is just how good of a safe switch this Swampert is against Quackman's side.
yeah, with no grass from Quackman, I mean, there's really just nothing on that team that Shadow Swampert can't just spam out of the field.
Yeah, it's interesting that Quackman is staying in and opting to spend a shield as well. Now bringing in the Buzzwole. And Kaz, do you know what the Great League win rate is for Buzzwole?
Oh my god, off the top of my head, I do not. Please tell me.
The answer is more than it should. So the Buzzwole comes out and KOs that Swampert, and now Capitalize has a decision to make. Are they going to bring the Toxapex back in and soak up a lot of that counter and lunge damage? It looks like that is the option
Yeah.
that it takes, and the
Toxapex
Buzzwole is
is
going to get off a Constellation Lunge.
Yeah, Toxapex is so thick, and it basically resists all of the Buzzwole's moves. So it's a really good damage sponge for Capitalize to throw in against that Buzzwole. Like, I think that's a really smart play on there, and just to soak all of these moves. There's nothing this Buzzwole can do that the Toxapex is afraid of.
Yeah, Quackman is now throwing the superpower, which is the higher damage move of the two, but you can see it still didn't do that much. The Toxapex just once again soaking that one up. However, out comes the Alolan Sandslash again. Will this extra energy that the Toxapex has built up be able to threaten the Sandslash? Quackman says no.
No, I don't think so, because we did get a lunge debuff onto the Toxapex. So it's already a much more defensive-based Pokemon versus attack-based Pokemon. And that slight lowering of its attack is really not going to make it as much of a threat to this Alolan Sandslash. But it is going to fight the good fight, throwing up a shield to throw as many of these Bryans as possible.
And the Alolan Sandslash is basically throwing up its hand saying, look, I'm done. Out comes Steelix, and is that a Thunderfang Steelix? Wow, and that is the perfect moveset. Hey, hang on, no, is it Thunderfang? I wasn't seeing like the super effective. It is Thunderfang.
Super
Wow,
effective
okay.
against the Charizard, and oh my gosh. And is it going to shield? Oh, it does. The Steelix does throw up the last shield for Capitalize, knowing that it can almost get a filthy farm down on this Thunderfang Charizard.
Oh, what just happened?
I'm not hallucinating, right? Like, we all saw that.
I think that happened.
Good.
We all just had the same hallucination.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the Thunderfang, you know, if this plays out similarly to the way that Factions format plays out, they do have the ability to kind of look at the teams, look at their opponent's team, and then change the move up until the last moment. So Thunderfang actually is a really smart call for Capitalize to put on that Shadow Steelix. It can put a lot of pressure across the board on Quackman, and we do see the Buzzwole come into this. From Quackman come into this Toxapex, a matchup that it didn't want to be in before, and it still doesn't want to be in now.
Yeah, but it is staying in for quite a while, building up a lot of energy before finally throwing a lunge on the Toxapex. Surely that Buzzwole is going to get out of there once it drops the Toxapex's attack. It does, and the Brine will land on an Alolan Sandslash, which, I mean, it's already a low attack Pokemon, and it's been debuffed. This is not going to do too much.
Exactly, but it does give Capitalize the opportunity to switch out that Toxapex for the Swampert, which is the same matchup that we saw play out earlier. So we know how much damage the Swampert can put onto this Shadow Alolan Sandslash.
One Ice Punch comes through. Now, the Swampert isn't going to want to take another Ice Punch, but it does have multiple Hydro Cannons to throw back in its place. So it's going to put a lot of pressure back
Mhm.
on that Sand Slash. The Sand Slash isn't going to be able to handle too much more. We see a charge move priority event, which the Swampert does win. So this is a choice now for Quackman. Use the second shield, does use the second shield, keeps the Alolan Sand Slash in there in play. And
Give
now Swampert is going to have to be faced with the similar decision.
Yeah, so we see both Pokemon. The two shields to protect that Alolan Sand Slash and the energy that it had, and the Swampert does just say, "All right, you can have this one. I'll keep my shield."
So Kaz, I don't know if you've looked at what Pokemon are in the back for Quackman, but I think this is not looking very good. I think this is really capitalizes games to lose. That Toxapex is coming in against a Buzzwole and a Charizard. Both of them are going to have to team up very closely to be able to take out this big, bulky Toxapex.
Yeah, I think given the situation here, Charizard probably was the right move since it at least can do neutral damage with its fast attack of wing attack and throw these spammy Dragon Claws out. But Quackman has no more shields to hide behind, and this Charizard is going to take a brine from the Toxapex, and it does so much damage.
Oh, hang on. Things have now changed. So it looks like the Steelix came in to try and snipe down that Toxapex. The Buzzwole is going to throw a lunge to lower the attack of the Thunder Fang, but look at how much those Thunder Fangs are doing.
Those Thunderbangs are doing an insane amount of damage, and the Steelix does have two shields to hide behind. So even though the counter from the Buzzwole was doing super effective damage, it just was nothing in the face of all those shields and all of that energy. Oh my god!
Wow, the Thunderfang Steelix, Kaz.
I mean, I thought we had all agreed that it wasn't really a thing, but now apparently it's a thing.
It's never a thing until someone makes it a thing, and then everyone's like, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, we all agreed, right? We talked.
Yeah. I keep on coming back to like Cindy with a Ember.
And in our next matchup, oh my gosh, we see the Shadow Hypno come out. They're like, fine, you want to bring Toxapex every game? Then I have a counter for that.
Yeah. So Hypno is like probably the only other the only thing it's probably Swampert's biggest counter in Quackman's team, to be honest. So the Umbreon is now going to try and do as much as it can to the Swampert. We can see how much those Hydro Cannons are doing. It's not as effective as what a Shadow Swampert's Hydro Cannons would be, but the non-Shadow variety does have that extra bulk, which can allow it to tank a couple of extra moves.
Yes, but the Umbreon is one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the meta and has now taken, I think, 3 Hydro Cannons just right to the face and still has energy and health left to throw multiple foul plays against this Swampert, which is going to take this last one, puts it down into the red, and is going to be able to
get the farm down.
The Umbreon. Oh my gosh. And now has a ton of energy for whatever comes in next. If it's the Hypno, I'm not sure it will survive even one confusion.
Which is why Capitalize is going straight for the Earthquake, and Quackman does not see it coming or sees it coming and is like, I can handle this. Look at how much damage that did to the Shadow Hypno.
Gosh. So much damage. It gets Hypno into the red immediately, but Hypno now has a little bit of extra energy but has nowhere for it to go against this Scrafty. Oh my gosh, is that a Focus Blast? That is a Focus Blast.
It's a Focus Blast, Kaz. It's coming. It's coming. There's no shield. It's gone. It's out of here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is a Focus Blast Hypno that just took out that Scrafty, deleted it from existence. And now we're back in this matchup with Toxapex throwing neutral moves against the Sand Slash, just reeling, I'm sure, from what we just witnessed.
Yeah, suddenly Quackman in a really good position. Now, the Toxapex does have 1 shield, and it's opting not to use it now. No, it is going to shield that drill run. There's not much reason for the Alolan Sandslash to try and bait here because it is only 5 energy difference, so it's only 1 extra Shadow Claw. It makes more sense to just go straight for those drill runs. We see one landing here, and we see how much damage it does. You can see that 1 more drill run will take out that Toxapex, and now we have this final shield, which is going to ensure it happens.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And yeah, Sandslash gets to that last drill run that it needs to get this Toxapex out of the way. I think that Quackman actually still has 1 shield in play. Oh my gosh, trading all of those huge attacks back and forth, neither one anticipating the danger as much as maybe they should have in that game. I absolutely cannot wait to hear our analysts break this one down, Fish.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, I won't make you wait much longer. What'd I tell you? Swiss Army knife. Never saw it coming. Mwah! Mwah! I mean, kiss you.
God.
That's a stud, my friend. That's a stud.
That is a stud for sure.
All right, let's talk about those first 3s. That first game, this first seeing that Thunderfang, Steelix in the back on that Charizard was so good. It seemed like that was the gameplay there. It was a great opportunity. Filthy, love the comment. The filthy farm down. So good, so good. What did you see in game 1, sir?
That Thunderfang farm down, the 1 shield farm down too, that was absolutely incredible. I had written Steelix. I was written Steelix off with the Dragon Tail, but that Thunderfang caught me off. I think it caught everybody off guard. It was absolutely incredible. And then that focus blast on Scrafty, I felt it. Like it hit so hard, I felt it. So like these are the kind of battles that I absolutely love. Just loving those those trading blows, those big hits, and knowing when to shield, knowing when not to shield. Just my adrenaline's all going right now.
It was so good. And just Kaz had mentioned before she didn't know if they could change it before their battles. And yes, previous matchups we had it that they had to submit the actual move set, but that was real early, and when Niantic hadn't been doing a lot of like move adjustments and doing some things and adding new moves to Pokemon. Now that there's a lot more Pokemon with a lot more generalist moves out there, it's a lot better to like, cause gosh, if your Hypno only had Shadow Ball, then you're really in a world of hurt. You're like really not using Hypno to the fullest. So we've allowed it to where they just submit their Pokemon and then they get to see their matchup, but they can't change the moveset in between the battle. It's just once the moveset is locked on a match, it is there. Yeah, I felt so bad. I saw that focus blast go through and I'm like cheering and hollering. Like we all know how hype I get, and just I felt so bad in the ears of Kaz and Fish there. But we are about ready to get into our third battle here. Is there anything else you want to talk about that you saw with these matchups?
It was just really good to see Buzzwole coming out. I loved Fish's comment about it wins more than it should. Just nice to see that the buff mosquito coming in and doing work, well, what it could, and just kind of like seeing how it would match up against those Toxapex that resist pretty much everything it did. It threw. So, but it was nice to see Buzzwole on the field.
It was nice to see Buzzwole on the field. It was nice to see Toxapex. I really liked it. But you know what? A big key. I made a note here, and I just wanted to highlight it. I know we talked about the Focus Blast. That was great. Game 3, all that stuff. But the Game 2 matchup there, you realized and recognized Capitalize's play style in Game 2, and that was the Swampert safe swap. Fish called it out. Swampert's one of the safest safe swaps. There's no grass on Quackman. Unfortunately, Hypno doesn't have a grass moveset in that move pool of its, so that's why it didn't come out as much. But having that safe swap, forcing both shields to come off of the Pokemon at first, that was the winning way to have Steelix capitalize on what was ever. And Charizard looked really good for Quackman. So that was a great realization, a great call on Capitalize to recognize that and call that out. So great job for him for taking 2 more points for the Underground. The dogs, the butter dogs of the underground versus iCarly. We're going to get into our battle 3, and that's Worthy of Quaza versus Hit You Hard. And Worthy of Quaza is rocking the Galarian Weezing, that Dove Wall that we love so much, Cresselia, Quagsire, Noctowl, and Buzzwole.
And Hit Your Heart is running with a Frostlass, a Skarmory, a Shadow Swampert, a Scrafty, a Shadow Dragonite, and Dropion. Dropion, that's how they say it.
Dropion is good. We got monocles. We have monocles. Is that a Dropion?
I'm fancy a Dropion.
I fancy a Dropion too. I like the double counter, not fighter prospect that Worthy of Quaza's pulling out here. Indubitably. You've got Dubwool and Buzzwole there, so definitely Wallaby. Double fighter move right there. Not double counter, but double fighter. Buzzwole with the counter, the power-up punch, we saw that. But Dubwool, I know we can finally have access to Wooly. I know that somebody that used to be on here all the time, Ms. DeFi, is finally excited to have it. And we can get it in rank 16 of your GBL sets. But it is a great, great spammy Pokemon.
I definitely agree. I've been doing my sets to try and get one, and I keep getting Onyxes, but the time will come. So I'm really excited to see Skarmory back out on the field. Looking at the team, like it's a pretty good matchup against a lot of the team. I'm excited to see how well it's going to be played. The Galarian Weezing does have that overheat, so I've got to be careful there. And also, if you listen to our show, you know that I absolutely love Dropion, like one of my favorite Pokemon. I'm excited to see that thing come out on the field as well. So go Dropion. So
go Dropion. Meow, 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 meow. Dropion indeed. Yes, it's a wonderful Pokemon. We see the Swampert now on iCarly. Can Hit You Hard use it as good as Capitalize as we are about to get into the third battle? Because iCarly's got to start catching up. They're getting one win, so that's not another one. Pressure here onto the iCarly team and Hit You Hard as our casters are about to give us our third and final battle between the iCarly PvP faction and the Butter Dogs from the underground. Casters, take it away.
Just a really quick one, Kaz. My favorite thing that's ever been said is Dubwoolatably.
Oh my god!
Brilliant.
That whole bit, Beth.
Okay,
they definitely brought up
Pokemon.
a lot of exciting Pokemon, and we see so many unique players on these teams compared to what we have witnessed in the previous battles. I mean, we see some Pokemon returning, but we didn't actually get to really see them in action, like Frostlass. We got to see the Cresselia and the Buzzwole a little bit. I'm excited to see Quagsire. Honestly, it got a little bit of a buff too with Mud Bomb, and I'm really hoping that Worthy of Quaza shows it off. So let's get into it and find out.
First up is that Quagsire. You're getting your wish very, very quickly. It is against a flyer. Now, the big selling point with Quagsire is that it has the Stone Edge to be able to hit the flyers for super effective damage, but the Skarmory with its Steel typing, that neutralizes the Stone Edge damage.
It does neutralize it a little bit, and it's not a stab. It doesn't get the same type of attack bonus from the Quagsire, but we can see that it does still do quite a good chunk of that Skarmory's health right there. And Skarmory is building up a lot of energy and does unfortunately lose that charged move priority tie to the Quagsire, throwing another Stone Edge that takes that Skarmory into the red.
But here is the big disadvantage with the typing group that we affectionately call the Mud Boys, is that, that Skarmory's health is so low, but those Mud Shots are doing so little damage. So that Skarmory could have built up a bunch more energy before finally throwing that Sky Attack, maybe even gotten to a high enough level that it could get to another Sky Attack before it goes down.
Yeah, exactly. We saw a definite overcharge there and an immediate swap from Hit You Hard to their own affectionately called Mud Boy of Shadow Swampert against the Dubwool that Sosa was so excited about.
It is a very good Pokemon. Those body slams and double kicks just add up way faster than you think it should. You tank the first one, you tank the second one, and then you're like, oh wait, I'm in farm down range. So
How did I get here?
How did this happen? Yeah, suddenly you're losing switch advantage. So the Swampert is going to try and get to that Hydro Cannon, but as we see, another Body Slam comes out, and look at that. You have to shield, otherwise you lose that switch advantage. How crazy is this Pokemon, Kaz?
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane. And they do both give up their first shield to protect all of the extra energy that they've been going for, but then the swap out from Dubwool to a Noctowl that is going to force the Swampert's energy into these Hydro Cannons instead of saving all the way up to a potential Earthquake.
Now we get the counter switch. Both players with the shield left. This Frostlass is going to enjoy this matchup. Now, Worthy of Quasar opting to go with the Sky Attack. The Shadow Ball is a super effective move, but my guess is that Quasar believes that they can get to another Shadow Ball in a quicker time, and that one wing attack of difference will make the difference in that matchup.
Exactly. They did get one extra wing attack of energy, which puts them in a position to be able to get to the Shadow Ball just a little bit faster than the Frostlass can get to its second Avalanche. And we do see the Shadow Ball, which is going to be super effective against Frostlass, coming through. Oh my gosh.
That Frostlass did not stand a chance. We hardly knew ye. So now the Skarmory will come back out, and because it's resisting those wing attacks from the Noctowl, it's able to farm that thing all the way down. Now Double is going to use that energy.
Yeah. Of course.
Body Slam from Double coming back at you once again. However, it has now used that energy. Is it going to be able to double kick the Swampert down? It does. And Double return of the goats. Is it a goat? Is it a sheep? It's got the horns, like it's a ram.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, don't the rams have the curly horns though? It's demon. It's a demon.
Yes. Yeah. There we go. It can throw out those moves so fast it might as well be summoning them from a demonic dimension. But in the end, it was the higher attack of that double kick allowed the Dubwool to farm down over the mud slap damage or the mud shot damage that Swampert was getting.
So battle 2 now, and it is Shadow Swampert into Noctowl. This is always a really interesting matchup. With shields up, I believe this is advantage Swampert because it's getting to its moves far quicker. It does have to shield Sky attacks a lot quicker than, say, the Noctowl has to shield Hydro Cannons, because you can see here it tanks one pretty easily. But with the shields up, the difference in speed can really make up for that.
And we do see the Noctowl from Worthy of Quasar trying to farm up a lot of extra energy to really force this Swampert's hand. Will have to throw the second Hydro Cannon, which will knock out the Noctowl if it lands, but Noctowl throws up the early shield.
And now this is why you're kind of pressured to shield Swampert, because it was now in farm down range from wing attacks. So Hitcher Hard is noticing that and bringing in the Frostlass instead to try and put some pressure back on. Out comes the Quagsire, which has that super effective Stone Edge damage.
But Frostlass does get to multiple avalanches and does win the charge move priority event, meaning that it is going to throw and force this the Quagsire to throw its energy as well, landing potentially this Stone Edge. Yes,
and it does land. Takes the Frostlass out. Frostlass has had a really rough ride at the moment because it is facing super effective charged attacks everywhere it turns. It is such a good Pokemon, but it does have a lot to contend with. So now Quagsire is going to come out and try and hit the Skarmory with the Stone Edge. And as we saw earlier, it is not going to do nearly enough damage to really make a huge difference. That Skarmory gets the full farm down of the Quagsire, which it will be able to use that energy very effectively later on.
Exactly. We do see, though, this Dubwool comes back out and can deal some neutral damage with its fast attack of double kick. The Skarmory is going to have to start throwing its Sky attacks, but we do see on that Dubwool side, do you see what moveset it has?
Yeah, it's got the Wild Charge, which is the move again. Oh, and we... okay, that was nearly a no-shield from Hitcher Hard. That would have been damaging to that Scar. It would not have survived.
No, it definitely would not have. And it was a very big call for Hitchuride to assume that they would go ahead and throw that Wild Charge, assuming that it even had the Wild Charge to begin with. And we see Flyer versus Flyer attempted a catch onto the Swampert, but it just allows the Noctowl to get more farm.
And now that Shadow Ball is going to hit that Skarmory. It's a high defense Pokemon, so this might not KO, but Shadow Ball is a very damaging move. It does get the
No.
KO. And Worthy of Quasar
Yep.
pulls out another point for the Underground.
Oh my gosh. these battles, I mean, we're only about halfway through it now, folks, and these battles are going to give me a heart attack. The energy management that we've seen so far, with the knowledge of when you have the ability to farm versus when you've got to throw your energy, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving seeing that Frostlass just try its darndest as well to make
Hey,
something
we do see a
happen.
positive matchup for Frostlass now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Buzzwole. We'll see. But we see the Fairy and Poison typing in the Galarian Wheezing come out, and that's going to be Quasar's primary choice to take on this Frostlass. The Avalanche will hit the Wheezing and take it to a very, very low range, and now the Swampert can potentially come out and Mudshot farm down.
I do think that it is in Mudshot range, especially since neither one of these attacks on the Galarian Wheezing side is super effective against this particular Swampert.
The Swampert is now going to shield. I mean, it would have survived that brutal swing, but as we've said a few times, you don't want to let your Pokemon get farmed down by another Pokemon. So
Exactly.
hit your hard is opting to leave it with enough HP on it to be able to do some damage without being counted down by this Buzzwole.
Exactly. Great point, Fish. And now this Swampert has a ton of energy of its own to force the shield from that Buzzwole.
So 2 Hydro Cannons coming back to back. The Buzzwole is shielding the first one, letting the second one go, and it takes
so
it, but not very well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, more wins than it should, I believe is what someone said.
So now the Skarmory is going to take a
out.
lunge. It
Oh
is
my
a
gosh.
double resisted lunge, and it is not going to feel that very hard at all. The Quagsire is going to come out, and it's got a lot of work to do, Kaz.
Oh, so much work to do. And we've already seen how this Stone Edge plays out against the Skarmory. So we know that it will take probably 3 before it can actually knock out. And the Skarmory is going to be able to farm up a lot of energy in the meantime.
Yeah, so Quagsire is holding on as long as it can. The Brave Bird is going to do so much damage, but now it is guaranteed that with that defense drop, the next Stone Edge will put it out of commission. In fact, with the triple defense drop, it maybe even a Mud Bomb might have been enough with some Mud Shots, but
we do have the Frostlass in the back that is actually quite healthy and is going to be able to hide behind this shield and effectively powder snow down this Quagsire, as well as the 1 HP left on this Buzzwole.
So there we go. Frostlass managing to close out a battle as it deserves. Frostlass is one of the most damaging lasses going around the Great League, and it has finally managed to do the job that it was put on this battlefield to do.
Yes, exactly. I love seeing her finish out the game. Let's see what our analysts have to say. if we can get over there to the desk, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, we're back to the desk. Indeed. That was an amazing play of energy and preservation and knowing what your Pokemon can take. Quasar is a name that's been around for a very, very long time. They understand the matchup, and I mean, you're bringing in Dubwool, you're bringing in Quagsire, you're bringing in Noctowl, you're bringing in G-Weezing at the end. Beautifully played all around from the underground battler there. What were you seeing there, Shadow Prime?
Oh, only thing that I could think of when the Dubwool came out was like, that thing is just too wool for school, and it was really cool to see that thing just like really cool wool. But it was really cool to kind of see like how the energy management, also that sneaky wild charge that hit you hard, managed to shield. That was really incredible. Also, I just wanted to give props where they're due. Skarmory was coming in and it was doing a lot of work in against the Quagsire, taking those stone edges because of that steel typing, which was really nice to kind of like reduce that damage. But I was impressed with Skarmory this go around. I was very impressed. I wish I could have seen it Drapion, but nonetheless.
Drapion, you understand with that Quagsire on every match. Yeah, you didn't want that.
That thing was dangerous.
Dangerous. You're right. The Skarmory really did show it has something that we've seen since season 1 with the addition of Brave Bird that it was given. It's a great move, but the problem was that you can nuke yourself and debuff yourself and have to take mud bombs or kicks or something you didn't want to see, as you saw throughout. So Skarmory did the best that it could, but it was unfortunate as Quaza really did again show what the energy and holding on to it and making sure that you know what your Pokemon can take. So a great performance there by Quaza, by both these battlers. Hit Your Heart got one back, and it just seems like iCarly's like hanging on, like, please. Ah! You know, you see a little bird, you're like, oh, please, Mr. Bird, please help me. And it looks at you, it's like, da 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 da, and like, you know, you're like, oh,
one finger at a time.
One finger at a time. We're about getting into game 4. It's one finger at a time here for sure, as it is about to be big money versus Oliviero G. Again, iCarly PvP need to end up getting some points here, but Oliviero G rocking some spice, and this is what I love. We got Shadow Charizard, Togetic, the love of Fresno there, Lickitung, Lurantis. If you haven't gotten yours recently after this most recent event, do so. Auroras and the lovely Tapu Fini.
Oof, very nice. And Big Money has a Shadow Venusaur, Deoxys Defense Form, a Pidgeot, Regirock, Sableye, and Walrein himself. So,
yeah. What are you liking about these teams? There's not that many meta Pokemon. Each of them have at least one real hard meta Pokemon.
I'm gonna go a little off meta. I love that Aurorus. That Pokemon surprised me with that Meteor Beam and then the Ice Weather Ball. I really love that Pokemon. I love how fast it gets to those moves. But I also really love me some Pidgeot, especially with the wing attack, with that feather dance. If you get those 2 feather dances off, you can just coast on through. And then we got the kind of the meta staples. We got the Walrein. Well, once meta staples, Walrein, and then Sableye as well, and Defense Deoxys. So I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup.
I think it is too. I love the Togetic. I've been playing with it. I built mine the minute after DV Sheriff got 3rd or 4th in the tournament. I was like, gotta make it. It's so, it can take so much. And one of the things I don't know anybody out there knows, but we'll tell you a fun secret. It has ancient power. So against the ice that it's weak against the flying that it's weak against. You also have Dazzling Gleam or Aerial Ace, so against the grass or the fighters too, something to play against if you wanted. But yeah, I like the Togetic. I don't know if it'll play today, but we'll have to find out as we're about to head back to our casters now. This is the 4th battle. There is only one battle after this, so Big Money really has to win this matchup or else iCarly is out of it. And we are going to head now to it, as it is going to be Butter Dogs, the dogs with the butter from the underground down under, versus the iCarly PvP factions. Alright, casters, take it away.
Oh my gosh. I love how he goes really ham with that nickname every time. And here, right in...
Whoop, wrong one.
Or not.
Sorry.
I just wanted to point out, I mean, I know we have our whole analyst desk, but I also want to throw some love at Pidgeot really quick. Love the bird. And it, as Prime mentions, it does have a lot of really strong potential to mind game you with either the severely attack debuffing Feather Dance or that huge hit of Brave Bird.
Somehow, Fish, you're muted.
I think Fish might be muted. Fish, I think you might be muted.
I am definitely.
He pulled the Sosa.
Yes. So, if I was Big Money, I would be wielding that Pidgeot, but then staring daggers at that Aurorus. Aurorus just it takes care of that Pidgeot before
That's
breakfast.
true.
It is just such a hard counter. Now, how much play does the Auroras have into big money's side? It does have to worry about Deoxys. It kind of has to worry about the Venusaur. You know, there's a lot of super effective play back and forth between those two Pokemon, and it doesn't want to take a Stone Edge or even especially a Focus Blast from a Regirock either.
Exactly. So let's see how these two incredible battlers play it out with our first match. And we do see Pidgeot.
Oh no.
Yes, the worst possible matchup for Oliviero over there, and doesn't immediately swap out, going for a little bit of energy first. Will actually throw the superpower, which is neutral against the Pidgeot thanks to its part normal typing.
Yeah, the superpower is going to take the Pidgeot into the yellow, so I don't mind this at all. And that is a Feather Dance that is going to hit that Lickitung. So really nicely played. That's the old chip and dip, we call it. So the Lurantis just gets out and allows the Lickitung to take the fall. Now, these Licks are double debuffed in their attack, but they were already double resisted by the normal typing of the Pidgeot. So it's basically 1 down to 1.
Yeah, exactly. Pidgeot doesn't hate this matchup and will get a second debuff attack before dipping out, as you say, and getting the Deoxys defense form against this Lickitung so it can deal some pretty super effective damage with counter.
Look at how little damage that body slam did. This Deoxys will be able to farm up quite a reasonable amount of energy by the end of this matchup. We'll see how many body slams the Lickitung can get out, but it's going to be rough.
I wouldn't be surprised if this Deoxys would honestly try and farm all the way down. And Lickitung will try and throw out another body slam, but honestly, it's been all the way down. so that it can start throwing some of its attacks against that it's gotten up to against this Lurantis.
Now, Oliviero is going to shield the first Rock Slide from the Deoxys. We've seen how much damage a superpower can do from a Lurantis to a Pidgeot, so there could be a situation happening where, I was going to say where it superpowers as a Pidgeot to death, but that is not going to be the case. Instead, the Charizard is going to come out. Shadow Charizard, one of the most fun Pokemon to play in Great League, in my personal opinion, is now going to Dragon Claw this Pidgeot, and that will be a threat no more, but here comes big bad Regirock. Look at the rock go.
Oh my gosh. And Regirock really does not have anything to fear from this Charizard, as intimidating as it might be and as unbiased as your opinion is.
So the Stone Edge is going to completely wipe out this Charizard. It has absolutely no hope of surviving a Stone Edge. You could probably no bubble that thing, and it'll still delete Charizard from your Pokemon storage. It is real bad for the Charizard. But it now gives the Lurantis an opportunity to try and farm up as much as it can. So it's got to try and get up enough energy to take out the Regirock and the Deoxys. Or just let it go.
Or understand.
No, that Lurantis was already in the red. It saw no Leaf Blades. And the Regirock still, over on Big Money's side, still had 2 shields in play. There was nowhere for it to run.
Yeah, and so that was recognized, and that was saving the viewer some time by just letting it go. That is a point back for Big Money's side. We are getting into battle number 2, and this is an interesting battle in the Deoxys versus the Charizard. Now, we saw Rock Slide on the previous Deoxys that was being used. We do see the Rock Slide on this Deoxys as well, so that is the more effective move to throw against this Charizard.
And we do see Charizard going straight for its biggest attack option, which is the Blast Burn, going to land on Deoxys for a huge amount of damage. And if Deoxys is not attack soon, and it is caught, the first Psycho Boost from Deoxys is caught on this Lurantis, which doesn't have to fear the first move, will give Big Money the chance to switch out to its Shadow Venusaur.
Wow, that was incredible play, but it does allow the opportunity for this Venusaur to get up a fair amount of energy before finally KOing the Lurantis. Now, the Lurantis being a grass type will resist Frenzy Plants, but it's on such a low HP that a Frenzy Plant will be enough.
especially from a shadow that we see on the battlefield in the Great League. And we see almost no bubbles coming through and no shield. And this still gives Venusaur one extra Vine Whip of energy.
What a flex from Big Money. Now this Venusaur will be able to threaten this Charizard back with a Sludge Bomb, and it's always such a big feels bad moment when you have to shield the Charizard against the Grass-type Pokemon, but it's happening. And now Charizard getting the farm down as well. So Charizard's still in a reasonably good position. We have one shield apiece on both sides, but we see the Regirock is in the back.
We do see Deoxys come out and force this first Psycho Boost on the Charizard, knocking it out of the sky.
That is an excellent read from Oliviero. I think Oliviero predicted that Regirock was in the back and thought, Charizard, you've done well, but it's time to go back in your Pokeball just for now. So the Tapu Fini is going to grind this Regirock down, smooth it over with its pummel of water guns and surfs. The Regirock does have an electric move there, and it is a very hard-hitting electric move. So maybe it can survive long enough to get that move off.
Oh, it is going to get to the Zap Cannon and throw that against the Tapu Fini, but will this be enough? Tapu Fini is still quite healthy.
It does take out the Tapu Fini, and there comes the Charizard once again. Charizard's like, you thought I was done with it? Not, it is not.
Will it be enough? Just barely. Oh, but the wing attack down from the Charizard. Oh, and then it still has energy to throw a second Dragon Claw against this Deoxys and forcing Big Money to rethink their entire team strategy for that second match. Oh my God.
Yeah, how much HP does that thing have? Like, the Charizard just would not go down.
Exactly. I mean, people think of Charizard as being one of the glassiest Pokemon out there, but in that situation, the sheer amount of energy that it had amassed allowed Oliviero to really force Big Money to dance around it, but it just wasn't enough. And now we're seeing the final matchup with a Tapu Fini lead against Pidgeot going back, Big Money going back to you. All right, you know what? It was a mistake to not rely on the bird. So let's bring that back out. And this is a pretty neutral matchup here.
Yeah, we see that same backline of the Deoxys and Regirock. It has been working for Big Money so far. The Pidgeot is going to take this surf pretty comfortably, and there's always a bit of mind games to be played with the Pidgeot. As you suggested before, often the way you shield or don't shield your Pokemon can broadcast what your intentions are with regards to charge moves, but you can take advantage of that. We see the Brave Bird is being thrown and correctly shielded from Oliviero, and now will it get to another move, or will the Water Guns take it out? No, getting to that second move.
Another move, and will it force the second shield? It does, and it is just a feather dance, and then Pidgeot goes down, but has done a lot of work to get all shields out of the way from Oliviero.
Yeah, and with no shields, being 2 shields to 0 down, that Charizard in the back is looking very, very dicey. The Tapu Fini is going to throw a Moonblast. In fact, it's not even going to get out of there. It's just going to play this matchup out. It's going to just do as much damage as it can before it's finally KO'd by the Deoxys.
Yeah, I mean, they know that this particular Deoxys has the Rock Slide Psycho Boost combination. So there's really not a huge threat, and they know that it has nowhere else to go. And then we see that the final Pokemon is the Lickitung.
So Lickitung is in a pretty fortunate position because we now know that the Regirock doesn't have Focus Blast, so it's going to be relying on Stone Edges, and if it wants to try and maybe get a debuff, it can throw the Zap Cannon as well. That Charizard in the back is really only good for being a third shield now.
Exactly. And I think Oliviero knows that. They're really trying to force all the shields that they can off of Big Money by throwing as much spam as possible instead of with Body Slam, instead of going for the harder move of Power Whip. Just trying to get those shields out of the way so that maybe they can get to that third Charizard shield.
And what a flex from Big Money, calling the Body Slam. The Power Whip was ready on the Lickitung. That probably would have KO'd the Regirock, but Big Money's like, nah, I got this, bruh. Did not shield it.
And And the Regirock still does not have quite a lot of health, and it just goes to show Big Money knows what is lurking in the back and knows that they have the steering wheel in this matchup now.
Yeah, and to be honest, that could have been a game-saving no shield because if the shield had come out, then it might have been the Red Rock might have been in a Dragon Claw range from the Charizard, which would have proved me wrong once again, which is something that happens quite a lot when I cast. But that was actually a very, very big no shield from Big Money.
That was a very huge call. And once again, I am awestruck by the ability of these guys to know when to shield, know when not to shield, knowing when it's going to be the most valuable to them to hold that very precious resource. And I'm looking forward to seeing what our analysts think. Let's take it back.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right?
That first game one, I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Down to the wire.
Absolutely.
This whole
it
whole
was
night
so
has
good.
just been like that. This whole night's just been like that. These battles have come down to the wire for some of them.
Exactly. It's like those boxing movies or something where it's just like round for round, hit for hit. Like these competitors like titans in the arena, and it's just really cool to kind of see, especially like with Ollie with that Lurantis catch in game one was absolutely incredible. Like the Charizard game two, like Charizard was like, hey, I didn't hear no bell, and just kept throwing out those Dragon Claws. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it reminded me of that Charizard. Like, remember Ash's Charizard just was like, a fight, I'm in. Who wants to fight? I'm fighting. I'm not down yet, right? He like, it could have been down and just popping up like Rock Lee, be like, a fight, I'm ready to fight.
Exactly. I'll fight you. I'll fight myself.
I'll fight everybody. I'm the strongest. Regirock and Pidgeot were so dominant. There is nothing else to say here from Big Money. He played it beautifully, closing out with that Regirock and understanding that Charizard is always lurking in the back. That not shielding the body slam or not shielding those body slams or even worrying about a power whip from Regirock was great on Big Money because he could tell that Oliviero was hoping that he'd get the shield so that he could get the Charizard. So that was a recognition by Big Money and a great call there. But a great recognition from Oliviero. I really appreciated the Lickitung in Game 3 once the Zap Cannon was revealed as the second move from Regirock and not the Focus Blast. It was an immediate Lickitung in there for him, and that was really interesting. The great thing about Big Money not revealing that Zap Cannon until Game 2 as well, because it got him a win in Game 1, which is Stone Edge, and now it brought in the Lickitung, which then he knew how to play around and brought that DD back.
Exactly. And also, speaking of DD in game one, that blast burn, it's been a very long time since I've seen that much health taken from a Deoxys so quickly. Oh, that was incredible to see. So
Shadow Charizard is not something to mess around with that attack.
Oh,
boost,
no.
my friend. Well,
absolutely.
Sir, it is the last matchup, and it is a good one. We have the young Sprite, one of the future stars, two young future stars of the Pokemon Go battling scene. We have Hot Pocket, the world finalist over in the Underground PvP, and the captain EV2E, who made it to losers finals in Hartford, but just couldn't get it to day 2. Coming in here for iCarly, and this is a matchup that I'm so glad I pulled these names out of the hat together, because when you think about Pokemon Go and battling, a lot of us were all of age and stuff like that. The younger generation, you don't really think so much of them, but it is so inspiring. And when you look at battlers like Hot Pocket, like EV2E, Wood Dodge and stuff like that, Bird Power 13, you're like, there's a lot of hope for the future, and there's a bright future ahead of us. And so we get to see some of this future battling it out, and this could be a look into this weekend in NAIC matchup because both of these battlers will be out there. They're not going to be rocking these teams, obviously, but they are out there. This is a fun matchup here, and Hot Pocket rocking the Sableye, Toxicroak, Dragonite Shadow, Ninetales Shadow, that Lantern, and Crawdilly.
I'm liking the spice I see there with that Cradilly. And then EV2 has got EV2E has got the Noctowl, the Dubwool, Kofagrigus, Probopass, a Shadow Slowbro, and a Sneasler.
Oh, my man.
Sneasler.
So ICarly is my factions team, and one of the things I've loved by being on this team for so long is that they bring out the craziest spice. Like the Spinda player that we all saw run.
Oh, yeah.
ICarly member right now. That 317. He's the one who signed me up. Like, these guys come up with all the spice around. The Sneasler's there. They've got babies that they play with. I'm surprised the Volibee didn't show up. But they all wanted to rock a dragon meta, and it worked. The double on EV2E. That Hot Pocket, though, doesn't matter if it's spice, doesn't matter if it's meta. The kid understands the game. He's like, yeah, I got a counter user, I got a Dragon Breath user, I can a Sableye, right? Lantern, whatever. Ninetales. You're like, Crawdilly's spice. Crawdilly's not spice. Crawdilly just didn't have play. But people can, it is a great Pokemon with access to Grass Knot and to Stone Edge. So we're going to have to see as it puts a lot of the things in check on EV2E's team here. But our casters are going to get into it. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, especially with the most recent move update, that Cradilly has access to Rock Slide now too, so which makes it just that much more dangerous. So, yeah. But I'm excited to see Sneasler in play because I love that thing. And especially with the most recent Solstice event, you can finally get one in Great League. So this is gonna be a bare knuckle brawl.
Did you get one? Did you get one?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Got rank 5. I'm so excited.
Oh, I haven't found that high of a rank. I got a rank 300, but I'm really happy because, oh my goodness, it's Sneasler. I'm excited. I'm hoping we see Sneaslers in NAIC. But we are going to see FishOnAHeater and HurricaneKaz casting the last battle as EV2E has to sweep Hot Pocket. That is a feat. But if you're trying to make a world's run, this is the opportunity and the time to shine to do it, and a great chance to build your confidence. So EV2E has to sweep Hot Pocket, but the Underground has a giant 2-point lead that it is 7-5. So any win by Hot Pocket, and it is GG's. So let's get over to our casters now. Casters, take it away.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this is where this is where we're at with this final matchup here. And we do immediately see the Sneasler come out from EV2E against Hot Pocket Sableye.
Yeah, this is a wild one with terms of typing, both offensively and defensively. Like, it's hard to figure out at the top of your head, like, what should be super effective and neutral and resisted. Yeah. But they're going to give it their best shot. We see the close combat coming straight out from the Sneasler before the quick switch out into the double.
And we did see that Purified Sableye from Hot Pocket give up that early shield to block the close combat, and will now bait with a foul play instead of going straight return to get that shield back from EV2E's Dubwool. And another foul play very quickly coming in through the Sableye, because if there's one thing that Sableye does, it's spam foul plays just as fast as a Dubwool can spam the body slams.
It plays very, very foul. So now we're going to reveal the move on the second move on the double, which is the Wild Charge. The Sableye will throw up that second shield, and now we are almost out of shields on both sides. So where there is one left, there it is. There's that last shield. So now both sides are defenseless, Kaz.
Oh my gosh, I can't. They've both given up their shields all the way to get this matchup just out of the way. And we do see another Wild Charge come across, and this will definitely be enough to take out the Sableye at this range.
You would better hope so, otherwise that foul play is going to come in. What a nice snipe! It did not KO, but before Hot Pocket could do anything, the Sneasler came back in, got that one Shadow Claw out, and did the job. Wow, and unable to throw its own move back as well. So both players managing to farm down the opponent before they can get a move off.
Oh my gosh, that was almost too fast for human eyes to catch that snipe down from the Sneasler onto the Sableye, and then the Dragonite just getting the double out of the way. And now we have a Cofagrigus from EV2 Eevee trying to do its best to get to its charge moves, but it's just a little bit slower than the Dragonite. And will this be enough to KO? Cofagrigus is pretty tanky. Oh, just barely not. And can throw the Dark Pulse that will secure the victory for EV2E.
Well, I would actually say, isn't there a Lantern still to come?
Oh, there is a Lantern in the back! Oh my gosh!
Oh, you had me doubting myself. I'm
Oh,
like, wait.
it's too fast.
Lantern's
I
like,
can't
oh,
handle
hey,
it.
can I have a go?
Can I? Oh my god! I didn't even remember that the Lantern was there because everything before that was so fast paced. It was
Yeah.
not in my mind. Oh my goodness.
And yeah, when you said that, I'm like, oh wait, was the Lantern gone? Yeah, I had to wait until it actually came out before I could confidently say.
I just cannot handle the fast paced battles we are seeing here. And
All right, well, we're gonna see another
we
one.
do see that Lantern coming out to lead for Hot Pocket this time, just saying, you know what, I didn't get enough of a go last time.
So Hot Pocket's like, all right, kid, you can get up the front of the line. And so this is an interesting matchup. The Double versus the Lantern, both pretty bulky Pokemon, not supremely bulky like a Bastiodon or some of these other picks going around, but both have some heft to them. Both throwing neutral damage as well. Both opting to not shield at the moment. The Double is now throwing those body slams, which we've seen how many of those it can get off in such a short space of time.
Yeah, opting instead of for the spam as opposed to the arguably more super effective move of Wild Charge. But the Lantern does get the Thunderbolt off, and just barely not enough to take out the Double, because as you pointed out, they are both a little tanky, and does finally throw that Wild Charge, getting the Lantern quite low so that Cofagrigus can come get some extra energy. Oh, but the Lantern gets to the surf.
Yeah, so the Cofagrigus is gonna take it. Now, I see the Dragonite is in the back again for Hot Pocket. That's bad news for EV2E because the Sneasler in the back, it can do a lot to Hot Pocket's team, but it cannot take a barrage of Dragon Breaths from the Dragonite. So the more shields are in play, the more it benefits Hot Pocket here because those those Dragon Breaths are going to be what wins out the game for him.
Exactly. And we do see an early shield come up onto his Sableye, employing a very similar strategy to the last game, knowing that this Sableye and its ability to spam foul play can be quite an advantage.
Yeah, so the Cofagrigus is going to try and get off one extra Shadow Ball, and it's going to go through, but it's not going to really help. That Sneasler is going to come out, and it's going to be met by the big, bad dragon.
God.
Look at that health bar go down.
It's so fast. I barely register this Pokemon even being on the screen before it's in the red. Oh my gosh. And we'll throw a first X-Scissor to get that last shield from Hot Pocket, but the Dragon Breath is just able to farm down that entire Pokemon. And now the Cofagrigus has no energy, nowhere to go. Oh, good gracious.
Oh yeah, I mean, they were all those Pokemon were trying to do as much as they could, but that Dragonite just absolutely busted. I mean, the only thing that EV2E has on their team that could really threaten the Dragonite, I guess, would be the Probopass. I mean, and Hot Pocket hasn't brought the Toxicroak, which is Probopass's biggest threat, so maybe this is the chance to bring it.
Yeah, and we
look at that!
Immediate reward on that prediction with the Shadow Dragonite versus this Probopass. This Probopass is on it's not Spark, it's Thunderbolt. Oh my catch! Thundershock.
Yeah, so Rock Slide, Thunderbolt, and was that Zap Cannon as well? Oh wow, the new move of the Zap Cannon on that Probopass. Let's see if that comes into play. So we see a catch, but and EV2E is opting to try and catch themselves, but Hot Pocket was onto that one, so building up a little bit extra energy and then throwing the Thunderbolt onto the sheet. Ram, Demon.
Yeah, and this matchup, I mean, we've seen it play out before. These are two relatively bulky Pokemon, and they are throwing neutral moves at one another. They're at a pretty even pace, taking away health with their spammy moves of body slam from the sheep, of double and surf from the lantern. But lantern going now for the harder hitting thunderbolt, trying to get this sheep out of the way fast as possible.
Yeah, interesting decision from Eevee opting to let that go down. The now giving up alignment, and that might spell disaster because, well, I mean, here comes the Sneasler, so it can get up a bit of energy, which maybe it can use against that Dragonite later. We saw that its biggest problem was just being farmed down by the Dragonite. Now Eevee is using a shield, which I think is fine here because, you know, against the Dragonite, it's not going to need shields, right?
No shield can protect you from fast attack pressure. And now we see that the Sneasler is faced with the Sableye once again and going to throw the close combat, and another close combat coming through, trying to get this
back-to-back
Sableye
close
out of the
combats.
way.
Even though it is resisted damage, it's such a high attack Pokemon, and the Sableye doesn't want to take that damage. Now it is in a health range where it can survive multiple charge moves from the Probopass. The Probopass won't shield that first attack. It does get to the Zap Cannon, and there's no shields to hide behind. Kaz, we are going to see a Zap Cannon KO.
Huge KO of the Sableye.
Oh!
It's still alive. Literally 1 HP and enough to get the foul play off and knock this Probopass down just enough. But it doesn't matter. The Dragonite is still there with tons of health, and just the Dragon Breath pressure immediately gets the entire team from EV2E out of the way.
That was rough.
Goodness.
That was rough. You might be. Let's bring everyone back so we can talk about this. this ending and this.
We all need discussion, I think, from those matchups.
A support group.
Yeah. So it was. You know, a viewer might be wondering why not shield that last foul play from the Sableye. Well, Eevee knew that the Dragonite had that superpower loaded up on the Dragonite. So if they used that shield on the foul play of the on the Probopass, then that Dragonite would just instantly come in and wipe the Probopass off the face of the earth. So the best hope that Eevee had was to try and survive the foul play long enough so that it could get to another move against the Dragonite in the end.
Sableye is a surprisingly tanky Pokemon sometimes. Like, you think, like, we thought that Zap Cannon would be enough, but just quite not. And that means that Sableye is in a position to let loose with those foul plays. Oh, goodness gracious.
Absolutely. And I always thought that Probopass was like a bargain version of Bastiodon, but it just didn't couldn't show up to play today. And also I just wanted to say that Dragonite with the shadow bonus, that those Dragon Breaths were just so oppressive. It was so great to see Sneasler. Yeah, I got to see him on the field, but it was gone like that.
For just a second. For just a little bit.
Hey, Sneasler. Bye, Sneasler.
Hi, bye. Okay.
It was such a hype Pokemon, and it just seemed like it was the biggest hindrance on EV2E's team. And it was his only fighter, too, and it didn't have a real good fighting move. Its only fighting move debuffed itself, so it had to leave. It was like, oh. And especially with something like a team like Lantern, Dragonite, and another Steel typing, you kind of need a fighter in there that doesn't debuff you as well. So it was unfortunate for EV2E, the captain, to close out for his team. But congratulations to Hot Pocket and the Underground for their big win, the 10-5 win. The matches were so much closer than, the point score looks like. It was just a fun all-around matchup. Wasn't that much RPS. Usually, sometimes it's unfortunate when they get paired. I would have to say the biggest RPS was that Dragonite onto Sneasler. Because it was just instant delete. Instant delete.
I think unless it's an elite, the idea of RPS. You think you have the advantage? Nah, I'll just Dragon Breath forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that steel type? Build up a little energy, switch thread out, bam, back in the late game.
Boom, superpower. There you go.
Yeah.
Right, swap in the swapper, get those shields, then hit him with the superpower. Bank that energy. If we noticed, everybody on the underground did a lot of energy banking and did a lot of shield forcing throughout this entire matchup and these entire tournaments. The boys over at iCarly know how to catch and always tried to make the catch. But it didn't work out in their favor sometimes, or it left them that the opponent just kept farming and got more farm instead of throwing. So it was a great eye opportunity there from the underground as well. Tough battles, but amazing all around.
Yeah, again, as you pointed out, like the scorecard can make it look like it was pretty dominant, but we watched every single one of those matches and saw just how close it can be with 1 HP in a dream.
Oh yeah. Definitely 1 HP in a dream. And Kaz, you said something earlier. I kind of want to put it on a shirt. Dragon Breath forever. Like I kind of want to do it.
Just eternity. For all time. Yeah, that's all you need. Dragon Breath forever.
Oh, that's great. We got a lot of shirt names and one-liners and memes tonight. It has been an amazing battle. Yeah, dope. Indubitably.
That's my favorite. Can I get that on a shirt?
Oh, yeah. My favorite was, what was it? Farm Down. What'd you say, Kaz? I wrote it down. It was
Farm Down.
The filthy farm down. I was like, oh, that's a good
farm
one.
down.
That's a filthy farm down indeed, right? You come in.
Absolutely.
That Dragon Breath is a filthy farm down for sure.
Oh my God, yeah. It feels wrong, but then you get the win and you're like, okay.
Yeah. That's how the game's played. But GG's to all the battlers who participated and to all of the teams. Thank you all. If you are a team that is no longer in the King of the Hill and you'd like to continue and try something new, come out and reach out to me here at the Poke Battle Network or find me on the Twitter at SosaFlo1. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to have you come on. We can get you going and do these battles because the Indigo PvP is here. We are here to provide a platform for battlers, for teams to stay together until Zygarde kicks up. So just so that everybody is aware, this is a format here so that your teams don't have to just wait till Zygarde comes through. There is something to look forward to. So Indigo PvP is for you, the battlers here, and the Poke Battle Network 1. But Poke Battle Network 1 is not the only place where you can find amazing battles. You've got places like Palatown PvP, RTC creates their own battle play forms, and the girls at PvP also have their own battling formats there. So I'm going to let the wonderful hostess with the mostest and the somewhat most casters tell you all about where you can get all of their information on your battling entertainment. Started with you, my man, Fish.
So Palatown PvP is on Twitch, YouTube, Discord as well. TikTok is a thing that's happening. Twitter. It's all Palatown PvP. We all just help each other get better at the game, share a love of the game. We grow the game. Like, we're all here for the game.
And I'm over at the Roundtable Chat Tot. We like to say it's your mom's favorite podcast with the best of the below average. And we just kind of have some fun, talk about the game we love, and just kind of create big events and like battles and stuff, like battle tournaments for everyone to just play with the Pokemon they love.
Awesome. And I am a member of the Girls at PvP server. It is a way for women to come together in the battling scene, learn together, improve together. We do have teams that have formed up there. We do also do unique format tournaments, and we really pride ourselves on learning together. So feel free to look up the Girls at PvP on Twitter. And you can also find me individually, finally, on Twitter myself as at the HurricaneKaz. I am no longer a social media mystery.
She does exist. Oh my gosh, she's not an AI generated person. It's incredible.
I'm a very real human person.
I'm a real girl.
It's a great day when you find that out.
Yeah.
That you exist.
Yeah, that Kaz exists. Yes, all three of these formats are wonderful battling formats for you, the battlers. They're great resources to help you build if you're looking for that. And it is the Pokemon Go battling community is a very open and wonderful battling community. It is very accepting. It has wonderful, safe community for a lot of battlers. I've seen a lot of esports where it's been very negative and very hostile, and nothing but love and amazing commentary in the chat tonight. So again, thank you all to the Pokemon Go community for being so amazing. That's going to wrap it up for us here at the Poke Battle Network. Be sure to like this or subscribe to the channel, as I'm going to be trying to get more of these out there, and the Indigo PvP will be here for 2 times a month. So again, we are trying to get more team battling out there, but until our big Project Zygarde comes at hand and we have our next battling adventures. Good luck out there, all you trainers, on your wonderful battling journeys. Thank you all for watching Poke Battle Network.